So what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Let's go where the kisses are hers and his. Do you know what I'm talking about? Yeah, I'm talking about Three's Company 2. Yeah, I mentioned this box set on the live stream we just did, and it got me reminiscent about the show. So not only do I want to unbox this, I want to go over a brief history of Three's Company. A lot of people don't talk about that show enough, and I think it's pretty, a historical comedy show that I love from the 70s into the 80s. And then we'll unbox this thing and I'll talk about this box set compared to the previous releases. So what are we waiting for? Let's get into Three's Company. Let's go.
There's a man in there.
So what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the JeffMan316 Pop Culture Reporter channel. I'm your host, as always, JeffMan316. That's me on the sign there because JeffMan316 Live is where we watch along to a movie, usually Sunday nights, 10 p.m. Eastern. We talk about pop culture, talk about physical media, anything you guys want to talk about during that. Please come over and support me there. Hey, you can also support me liking all the videos, subscribing to the channel. And then, yeah, hey, do me a favor. Hit me up on social media, JeffMan316 on Instagram, and support me any way you can. And in this episode, or video, whatever you want to call it, we're going to be talking about Three's Company. I mentioned this box set that I'd gotten off Amazon during the live stream, and I really want to take a deeper dive into it because this is a show that was pretty iconic back in the day. It was a big part of my childhood, and I don't think it gets quite the respect that it deserves. It was pretty innovative, ahead of its time. It's got a big heart. I really love the show, and I think more people, if they are not watching it or haven't watched it, need to take a look at it because, like I said, it's pretty iconic, and I love it. So, look, before we dig into this box set, which I do think is worth your time, let's take a little bit of a brief look back in history at Three's Company. So Three's Company premiered on ABC on March 15th, 1977. I'll date myself. I was 6 years old. I remember it well. It was one of the first shows that I would stay up later and watch. Came on, I think, like 9:30 at night. My father worked second shift. He would also always come in right after the show had started. I'd tell him what had happened, and we sat down and watch it together. My mother was a little bit hesitant on letting me watch it because of the nature of the show and the plot, but it was harmless is what my dad thought, and it turned out to be, and it's got a really big heart. So I really love the show, and it's got a real, sentimental spot in my heart just because of that. It was, like I said, it was one of the first shows my dad and I watched together. So, but let's take a little bit deeper dive into the show. So I don't know if you knew this, but Three's Company was based on a British sitcom. It was called Man About the House. That also followed a man who shared an apartment with two women. Yeah, but this version was adapted to set in Santa Monica, California. So the original cast, which you probably know, included John Ritter as Jack Tripper. He played the lovable, aspiring chef. Joyce DeWitt was Janet Wood. She was beautiful, and she played the level-headed florist. Suzanne Summers was Chrissy Snow, which was short for Christmas, if you didn't know. And she was a ditzy but sweet receptionist. Together, that trio shared an apartment, and most of the comedy stemmed from Jack pretending to be gay to appease the landlords, the Ropers, who didn't want them living together. The landlords were named Stanley and Helen Roper. They were played by Norman Fell and Audra Lindley. They stole most of the scenes when they were on Three's Company. Stanley was a penny pincher and Helen was a flirtatious homemaker. I loved how Norman Fell would often break the fourth wall when he would stare right into the camera after making one of his cheesy jokes.
Well, I'm working on my face.
Your job is tougher than mine.
The Ropers became so popular that they actually got their own spinoff show in 1979. It was called The Ropers. The show followed them as that couple moved to a new home in a wealthy neighborhood, but they weren't always wanted there. And unfortunately, though, the Ropers only lasted 2 seasons before it was canceled in 1980, and those characters never fully returned to Three's Company. They did appear in a season 5 episode called The Night of the Ropers in 1981, though. I remember seeing that myself back in the day because Mrs. Roper ends up in the bed accidentally with Mr. Furley. So let's talk about the rise of Three's Company. Let's go back. The chemistry between Ritter, DeWitt, and Summers was undeniable from day one. John Ritter became the breakout star, though, because of his charm and physical comedy. The show became a hit. It was consistently ranking in the top 10 during its early seasons. It was often praised for its lighthearted humor, but it had boundary-pushing themes, especially the portrayal of single adults living together, which was kind of risque for TV back in the day. It did have its issues, though. Things weren't perfect behind the scenes. In 1980, during contract negotiations, Suzanne Summers demanded a pay increase. She wanted to go from $30,000 an episode to $150,000 to match John Ritter's salary. ABC refused, and this dispute became highly publicized. Suzanne Summers was written off the show and only appeared in a handful of episodes that season. Most of her parts were filmed separately from the main cast. Her character Chrissy was replaced by Cindy Snow, played by Jenny Lee Harrison, and later by Terry Alden, who was played by Priscilla Barnes. Many fans felt that the chemistry amongst the new trios didn't match that original chemistry. Personally, I didn't really like Chrissy as much. I always loved Janet, but I'm the one who likes Mary Ann instead of Ginger on Gilligan's Island. After 8 successful seasons, Three's Company aired its final episode on September 18, 1984. But the story didn't end there. The series transitioned into a spinoff called Three's a Crowd. It followed Jack as he moved in with his girlfriend named Vicky, and they often dealt with her disapproving father. Unfortunately for Jack, though, that Three's a Crowd didn't capture the magic of the original show, and it only lasted 1 season before being canceled. So why did Three's Company come to an end after it had such great success? Well, by the early 1980s, the sitcom landscape had changed. Audiences were gravitating towards shows that were more grounded. Ratings for Three's Company began to decline, and ABC decided it was time to wrap it up. Additionally, there was that tension between the cast, particularly between Joyce DeWitt and Suzanne Summers that I mentioned, and that cast a huge cloud over the show's legacy. Despite that behind-the-scenes drama, the spin-offs that didn't quite work, Three's Company remains a TV classic. It gave us unforgettable characters, hilarious misunderstandings, and some of the best physical comedy in the history of sitcoms, largely thanks to John Ritter, who won an Emmy for his role in 1984. We've obviously lost John Ritter since then, so rest in peace. But even though we've lost most of the main cast, Three's Company lives on through reruns on channels like Logo, proving that its charm and humor are timeless. So what's your favorite memories of Three's Company? Well, you can find out if you want to invest in this box set. I found it on Amazon, and let's dive deep into that in this part of the video. It's from a company called VEI that I hadn't heard of until I purchased this set. It's the official 40th anniversary collection. It's got 8 seasons, 172 episodes. You'll notice it's got a slipcover on it. So you also notice it's got a door on the front, and it's got a little tag thing. It says, bonus, the Ropers and Three's a Crowd included. So that was the reason I got this set. I have all the original Anchor Bay seasons of Three's Company. Now, obviously, those sets, the compression probably isn't as bad. There's probably less episodes on a disc. But I will tell you this, I have watched this box set a little bit, and the quality isn't that bad. It isn't as good as the Anchor Bay disc. But if you don't have any way to get them, and you want to get this, to get a cost-effective way to get Three's Company, the Ropers, and Three's a Crowd, then I think this is the way to go. Now, I will say this, there is no other way right now to get Three's a Crowd. There is one extra way to get the Ropers. They've released the Ropers separately, the same company in a set. So if you've already got those Anchor Bay DVDs and you just want the Ropers, then you can get that. But I think it's about $40, and this is only in the $60 range. So you get all the Three's Company episodes. Like I said, you get the Ropers and you get Three's a Crowd. Now, Three's a Crowd hasn't been released separately as far as I know. Now, I often hate these type of big, gigantic clamshell type cases. But this one is ultra thick and heavy. It takes a little bit to pop it open. And you'll find the disc nestled inside. And oh my God, you might say, they're in sleeves, Jeff. That sucks. but it's not the same paper sleeves like Mill Creek uses. And this thing is thick and heavy, and the discs, they fit in there, and they've got them in these little mini sections of like almost like CD case holders. You get the Ropers are on 1, 2, 3, 4 discs. No, is it 3? Let's see. The Ropers is on 4 discs. Three's a Crowd is on 3 discs, and there's no special features. That's the first disc of the Ropers, and here's the first disc of Three's a Crowd. So I wanted to go ahead and let you know the reason I was hesitant on buying this at first is there's at least one review that I read on Amazon that said that the Ropers was missing an episode. So the first thing I did when I went and bought this set was I dug through the internet and found it was supposed to be 28 episodes of the Ropers, and I counted the episodes on the discs because each one has got them listed. And what do you know? It says there's 28. So what's the issue? Why would somebody think that? Well, from what I understand, season 1 only had 6 episodes. The misunderstanding comes with season 2. The first episode is supposed to be an episode called The Party, which is, I think, a crossover episode with Three's Company where Stanley throws a party for Mrs. Roper, and they cross over because the kids, as he calls them, were invited. The Party is nowhere to be found on these discs, and I think that's what the person was talking about. Now, I did a little research. Often, the second season, episode 1 of the Ropers is included in the syndication package of Three's Company because of the crossover. And because of that, they gave it a separate name, and the name of that was Stanley the Ladies' Man. Now, what I will tell you is, voila, Stanley the Ladies' Man is right there. So what they did was they didn't use the episodes named, originally for the Ropers, and they included, I think, that syndication name. The other strange thing is it'll take you a little while to look these up. They're not in the order that they aired. I think they're in production order, because if you go by the titles and you try to go to any episode guide, they're not in the same order that I can find. So, but I'm okay with that since it was only 28 episodes. And I did count the Three's a Crowd as complete. And then I will go ahead and show you this. I'm not going to show you every disc, but it's pretty thick. All the discs for Three's Company are in here. And I will tell you that each season, other than the first one's only 1 disc. There are special features on the last disc. Since season 1 only has 1 disc, the special features are on there. There's the pilot episode. There's a Remembering John Ritter. And then there's a 8 Years of Laughter featurette. Those are included on the original Anchor Bay disc. So if you go to the last disc of each season, there's season 2. There's bonus features listed. From what I could tell, 99% of the special features are ported over. I think there were some promos or some like best of clips from some of the characters that weren't included. But I mean, you got all the episodes. Do you really need best of clips? So it was anything major that was missing. So like I said, I want to just warn you, the quality on these are not quite up to the standards of the Anchor Bay set. But I don't know if you're going to be able to find all those as cheap as you can get this. And the quality isn't poor enough where I won't recommend this. To me, this is the way to get the show. It's also featured in its original aspect ratio of 1.3, 3:1. And if you didn't know, this show aired from 1977 to 1984. So that's all I got to say about that. I highly recommend this set if you're a completist, because you're going to get Three's a Crowd and the Ropers. And I really like the packaging. So if you're going to have to get something in a clamshell and you're going to have all those discs included in one big package, this is definitely the way to go. I really commend VEI on trying to upgrade past some of that nonsense the way Mill Creek does it. So do you own this set? Do you own all the other episodes? Do you like Three's Company like I do? I think it was worthwhile going over this, and hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you did, like, comment, subscribe, share, do all the normal YouTube stuff I always ask you to do. Hit the notification bell if you are a subscriber. It'll let you know when I post new videos. If you aren't a subscriber, come on board and let's talk physical media together, and come along and watch the live streams. Support me on social media. You can hit me up on Cashapp and PayPal if you want to support me monetarily. And I'm probably getting ready to do channel memberships soon. So watch out for that. So I really appreciate all the support, and hopefully we'll talk about another cool physical media release in one of my future videos, and you guys will enjoy that as well. So until next time, boys and girls, this has been JeffMan316. As always, I'm your pop culture reporter. I'm signing out saying you guys be safe out there.
Whoa!
Come and knock on our door.
Where have you been?